Is making good music enough? Let's talk about it. But first, for those that don't know me, my name is Nick. I'm an independent artist with give or take 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And I just like to chat about growing as an artist. And as always, I wrote a book. And if you care about that sort of thing, the link will be in the description. Let's get into the video. Is making good music enough? No, not really. It can be on the off chance. If your music is just really, really good, or if your voice is really, really unique, or if your style is very, very unique, then it can work. But it's much more difficult, right? Because there are a lot of artists far more talented than I am. And I'm not saying that I don't think I'm dope. It's just I am not ignorant to the fact there are people out there far more talented than I am, far better singers. And unfortunately, a lot of those people will never make a living making music. And that could be, right, that a lot of like really, really talented, creative people aren't usually the best business minds because they just love to create. They're really, really good at it, and they create some really great stuff. But without the business aspect, right, without thinking and kind of operating like a business would, it's really hard to get people to come across your creations. If you just love to create and you're really good at it, that's not enough, right? It's not enough. Because people have to know that it's there in order to listen to it, in order to consume what you create. If you think about it like this, I don't know if I've spoke about it in the past, but if you think about it like this, let's imagine you got a burger joint, all right? You got the best burger anyone's ever tasted. Anyone who's ever tasted your burger has said it's the best burger that they've ever had. You open up a burger joint, but you don't tell anyone that it's there. It's going to be really hard for you to sell burgers. You know, it doesn't matter how good your burgers are. If no one knows that it's there, no one's going to eat them. So you got to have either yourself switching into a mindset of how do I run my business properly, or you have to put a team in place to do that stuff for you. If you're really self-aware and you know that, hey, I'm not the kind of artist that's going to promote my music and try to make this a living, but you want to make a living making music, then you have to put someone or a team in place to do that side for you, right? The most artsy artists out there, Kendrick Lamar's, doesn't matter. You name them, they're artsy. They have a team in place doing the things that they don't want to do, right? But the things are still being done. A lot of artists, especially the ones that don't want to operate like a business, they think that maybe making good enough music is enough because they see their artsy artists who rarely post, who rarely whatever, are being successful. But that's because they have entire teams behind them doing the stuff that they don't want to do. And I think also you do oftentimes have to give the people what they want. I know a lot of artists don't like hearing this. But in order to, I think, be successful, and not all the time, right? I don't want to just ostracize and say all the time. It's not all the time. There are people that get through without doing some of the things. But it's very few and far between. So what I'm saying is, you have to give the people what they want. And I think oftentimes artists aren't willing to sacrifice their pride in that moment in order to give people what they want. They just want to create what they want to create. And it's also hard to run a business that way. Let me explain that. All right, let's go back to the burger joint, and I'll put this in perspective. Let's say that your favorite burger to make is extremely spicy, right? It's got jalapenos on it. Maybe even put some peanut butter on it. Put some peanut butter. I've seen it done. I've seen people put jalapenos and peanut butter together, right? You got this burger. One burger, your favorite burger to make, jalapeno peanut butter burger. Your business is going to have trouble if you don't just make a regular burger. You got the jalapeno peanut butter burger, and you're dying on that hill. Your business is going to struggle. Your business is going to struggle unless you give the people what they want. Because most people just want a regular burger. Double patty with some bacon, maybe. I don't know. Right? You got to give them what they want. There's not a lot of people that I know that are going to eat a jalapeno peanut butter burger every day. It's tough, right? So that's what I mean about giving the people what they want. In order to run a successful business, you have to pay attention to the interests of your clients, of your consumers. You know, whatever you want to call it, whatever it may be. You have to focus on what do they like, what do they want. And I know that's troublesome for a lot of artists because they want to create what, they want to have the freedom to create whatever they want to create. And I understand that. I do. Real quick, I want to touch on something. I was editing the video. I'm in my truck at my son's at a birthday party, and I was just editing this video. But I want to touch on this because I feel it's important. When I was talking about giving the people what they want, I do want to emphasize that once you get to a certain place, that you have fans or people that support you, they will then like what you put out just because it's something that you put out. They'll like what you make just because you made it. The part of like paying attention to what people are interested in, you kind of only have to do that for so long. And then you have people who care about you. They'll just like what you create because you created it. It's kind of like your mom, Your mom likes everything you make, but that's to be expected. She's your mom, right? But it comes like down like that with your fans too. Your fans will start to like stuff that you create just because you're the one that created it. So it's a growth thing that I was talking about. Giving the people what they want is a growth thing. It's also important to continue to grow and grow and grow, but I just mean when you get to a place where you have a foundation of people who care and support you, you can then do more of what you want, right? More of what you yourself like. And that's just a thought that I had while I was editing. So let's get back to the video. My advice comes from running a well-oiled business. To be able to make a living making music. That's what I talk about. Because that's what I feel like I did well. Or that's what I feel like I do well, is I run a good business. And I also love to be creative. I just think the two need to meet. The two need to marry. And I don't think that you have to sacrifice the art in order to add in business. Maybe a little bit, but I just mean like, I don't feel like I'm taking away from the art. I just feel like I'm adding in business. You can just get over that hurdle. I think a lot of people will find a lot more success in making a living making music. But if you don't care to make a living making music, then make whatever you want, right? The trouble is I often hear people saying like you're taking the art out of music. But I'll hear those same people complain about how much Spotify pays for a stream. I'll hear those same people complain that the TikTok algorithm doesn't like their stuff. Or, you know what I mean? Like the same people that are saying you're taking the art out of the music are complaining that they're not making enough money. So that's where I'm coming in to try to help. I'm trying to help you guys kind of restructure your mind into thinking and operating a little more as a business so that you can make a living doing something you enjoy. But I do want to reiterate that sometimes making good music is enough. It's just, I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't bank on it. Because without the content or without the marketing or the promoting, no one's going to know that it's there. And that's the biggest thing. People have to know that it's there in order to consume it. So, is making good music enough? I don't think so. But I don't want to ostracize it because I do think it's possible. I just don't think it's practical. And that's kind of how I've always approached it. What's the most practical way to make a living? You guys know that. All right, cheers. And just as an update, I'm writing another book. I'm writing a book on what I feel is the perfect release strategy and content schedule plan. So just know that that's coming and be on the lookout for it.